Hello everyone and welcome to this Substance Painter stream. Today we're going to take a look at the new Substance Painter release, and this is a pretty big release, meaning that we're starting a whole new structure in the way that we deliver software. So this is going to be Substance Painter 2017.1. There's going to be many more updates throughout 2017, of course. However, you'll notice that we're no longer using version names. Now, this is something we talked about a few months back, I think it was, or a month ago, and we discussed kind of the new system that we're going to be using. And this is actually the first release that we've done in our new maintenance system. Now, we still have all of the friendly options for being able to rent to own as well as purchase the software just outright as standalone. So we still deliver all those options. But today, like I said, we're going to be talking about Substance Painter 2017. Now, before we jump right in and get started, here let me switch to my screen. So here is Substance Painter. I wanted to talk a little bit about how you can actually get the software. So here, let me just bring open my algorithmic account. So what I wanted to point out is, if you want to get the software, what you need to do, you just log into your algorithmic account, and underneath your licenses, you'll see that we now are just calling this Substance Painter. So, there's another Substance Painter down here as well, which is the same one. I'm sorry. I've got several builds going here. But for instance, you'll see Substance Painter 2, Substance Painter 1. The new Substance Painter is just called Substance Painter. So you'll see it here. Also, when you look at your download link, you can see the name or the version. So it's 2017.1 and Windows, Mac, and Linux. So these are the versions you're going to want to get. So again, you want to download, just log into your algorithmic account, and you'll see it here under your license downloads. Again, Substance Painter. Check the version number. All right, so let's jump back to Substance Painter and get started about talking about some features. Okay, so one of the first things I want to talk about is we've now included a substance source here within Substance Painter, meaning that you now have direct access to substance source. So you'll notice that I now have this new substance source plugin here. So I'm just going to click this button here, and it launches Substance Source for Painter. So Substance Source is part of the subscription system, and you get this in complete PBR library with your subscription. So I do want to iterate that this is for those that are on subscription. They get Source for free, of course. So I just wanted to make sure that that's noted. But here within Substance Painter, you now have full access to Source. So here it works just like the website. You'll notice here I can, browse the different categories. I could also come into the search. I can start to search, and we have live search updates really quickly. You have access to your assets. These are the ones that looks like I've downloaded underneath my categories, and I can, sort. So again, same functionality that you have on the website. Now it's all housed here within Substance Painter. So let's take a look. Let's come over here to wood, and let me just try to find like a wood here. Let's see, there's a lot of options. What do I want to go with? These are the kind of parts of the videos where I could take forever because I just sit and keep looking. Here, let's just try this one here. So let's say that, I'm here, I'm in Painter, I'm working my project, I need a material real quick. I can jump over to Substance Source. I can, click on the button. Here I can get an idea of what this material looks like. And let's say, okay, this is great. I'm ready to download. All I have to do now is just click the download button. Let's see. Whoops, I've got something denied here. That's embarrassing, of course. Let's see here. It's almost like, you go to pay for something and they tell you your credit card's declined. Here, let me try something else. I might need to just log out and log back in here. So let me just try this. All right, come back over here to my shelf and grab source. Okay, let's try this one more time. So let me just do wood. And let's grab this guy. Here, let's try it. Download. There we go. So I don't know, must have just been a little goof with my login there. All right, so it downloaded and it's been placed here within my shelf, and I can see that here. So that's not it. Let's see, where did that guy go? Oh, here it is, right here at the top. Sorry, I was busy talking and I forgot where the material was placed. So you can see that it showed up here underneath my materials. So what I'm going to do now is, let's see, I've downloaded, I'm ready to go. I can just left click and drag and drop and place this here into my layer stack. And we can just update this. So now we have our new material. Of course, I can come over here to my tiling options. I can choose to tile this material for my UV rotation. Let's just rotate this guy here. Let's just set a number. So I'll type in 90. And then again, I'll just tile this guy up some more. And it looks like my height's a bit too intense. Let's see. Might be normal. Let's take this guy down. Could do it this way, or of course I've got all my parameters. So again, since this is a substance material, you're going to have all of the parameters that you would have set. Again, it's just the same as Substance Source from the website, except now it's just fully integrated here into Substance Painter. Let's see. Let's take my normal intensity down here. And of course, if we want, we could jump back out. Let's see, we could grab another one if we need to, and so on. So again, it's just really quick. Just browse through, select a material that you want to work with. This time I'll grab this one, and then just straight up download. So you'll see it downloads, and then here in my shelf, you can see that it's already loaded and ready to go. Drag and drop it right here into the layer stack, and you're done. So that's Substance Source fully integrated here within Substance Painter. So one other thing that I kind of want to showcase here with this guy is my layer stack. So this is another kind of newer feature that we've talked about before, where we have the ability here to now rename these texture sets. So we can rename texture sets. So if we right click here, you can see you can edit the name. You can also add a description here. So if I just wanted to say, hello texture, I can now add a little description here. So this was part of a previous update. So here you'll notice in my layer stack, though, that I've got a couple of these materials. So I've gone and renamed, or some of these materials were removed and then renamed. So we've had that problem where these guys are disabled, but they're just kind of hanging out there in our texture set list, and it's pretty annoying. So here in 2017, we've actually added the ability, which was a pretty wide request. Can we delete and remove these texture sets? Well, now we can do that. So here is the process. So first, you're going to come over here to your settings tab, and then we're going to come to reassign texture sets. So in, like I said, this is all part of a previous release at this stage, and we have a video that kind of showcases. It's if you're not familiar with it, if you take a look at our Substance Painter 2.x feature update playlist on YouTube, you'll find this video. So it's now here on the disabled texture set. You'll notice that we have this button here. So this is showing all of these disabled texture sets, and I have this little close button. So let's see here, 1520. If I want to delete it, I will just click this. It lets me know, hey, are you sure you want to do this? So the reason why, again, here we're being pretty, hey, are you sure you want to remove this, is because this is a very destructive process here. So once you remove this data, it's gone. So we're not going to be able to, rebuild this texture set back. So this is going to be, it's gone, and it's going to be out of the data set. So let's just do that. Let's get rid of 1520. I'll click apply. And Substance Painter is thinking about this here, so it's going to remove this. And so you can see here that it's removed the texture set. We had 1520 was here. It's now gone. 1521 is the next one in the list. So we've completely removed this guy. It did do a recompute here of our layer. So my model got kind of pushed back out of the way. But you can now see that that's removed. So this is a new, like I said, new feature. It's all part of this reassigned texture set list. We can now completely remove disabled textures. Okay, so next up with Substance Painter, with this release, we've also had numerous bug fixes, and I highly recommend you to check out the changelog. The team was working really hard on always improving the stability and the bug fixes. So everything that you guys report to us, it's awesome to get that feedback. We go in and we make sure that we're squashing these bugs. So there's been a lot of fixes with the 2017 release, as noted by the changelog. Also, we've added a ton of new content here to 2017. So this has kind of been our content release here. And like I said, this is just the start. This is our point one of the 2017 release. So here I'm going to just open a new scene. So let me just come over here to my recent files and let me open this little demo asset. This here is just a little hard surface asset, and it's part of the new Getting Started for Painter series. So last Friday we released a new series. It's about a 1-hour video for new users who are looking to get started into Substance Painter. So that video is done, and I'm going to keep adding new videos covering more topics, moving advanced as we go. So if you're familiar with the Getting Started in Designer series, again, it started off real basic, and then we just keep pushing it forward as we go to kind of build up the complexity. Same thing I'm going to try to do with this new series here. So that's where this asset's coming from. It's just part of that series. So now I'd like to run through a lot of the new content that we've shipped with. And so first, you'll notice that here underneath of our alphas, we've actually shipping or including a ton of new alphas here. Most of all of these alphas are going to be procedural. So you can see there's a ton of new content in here. So like I said, most of these, actually here, let me check the Alpha Allegro. I call it for algorithmic. I actually added a bunch of height maps myself. So these are the ones that you guys will see here. So like I said, ton of new content here. And so let's see, let me come over here to one of my texture sets and let me kind of demonstrate kind of the procedural nature of a lot of these new alphas here. One other thing too, while that's kind of loading up, I've got the chat window open, so I'm kind of trying to pay attention to the chat as I go. So if you guys have any questions, please throw them out there. I'll do my best to kind of catch them. If not, we're all available on the forum, so you can follow up on the forum. Also, since we're now using this YouTube for our event streaming, this video is going to be archived on YouTube, so you'll be able to go back and add comments to this video as well, and I'll be checking those. Okay, so let's take a quick example of some of these alphas. So here I'm just going to create a new standard layer, and let's see here. Let me just come over to my material. Let me just disable everything here, and let me just set like a really bright color like red so we can see what we're doing. And we'll go to our brush. All right, so yeah, let's take a look at some of these guys. So for example, we've got, here, let's take a look at this one, the Celtic Cross. So I'm just going to drag and drop this alpha in. And you'll notice here, if we come into the actual alpha, let me just zoom in. Okay, so we have our alpha, I can stamp this down. But this guy has a procedural amount of numbers, so I can make some adjustments here. And you can see that I'm increasing the number here. If we also look, like I said, that's a basic one. Here's another one here. This one here is a gear, and you can see here we've got a tooth number, so I can increase my tooth numbers here. Let's see here. You can see how much we can kind of change this tooth bending. So here, let's bend this a lot. Let's reduce the number. So now we get a shape like this. We can increase our width. And so here we go, another shape. So again, we've got these alphas, but because they're built on Substance technology, we're going to have all these extra parameters that you can work with. Some of these alphas actually have a flip status to them. So here's one that I know of. So this guy, whoops, let's make sure we get this in place. All right, so here we've got this alpha, looks like a pencil alpha. And if we just hit flip, you can see that we can then flip the side. So here, let's come in and flip. And it's just flip the other way. So some of these alphas are going to have that flip functionality to them. Which is nice. And like I said, almost all of these alphas that we've added here are going to have some type of procedural ability to them. Here, let's close this guy out and grab a new layer. Here's another one with caution that was pretty cool. So we'll drag this guy in, and you can see this guy. Here's caution. So here's a variation we can do with this. So we'll stamp this guy in. And let's see. Turn off our border if we like. You know, we can turn off the stripes and just get the caution. Here we go. We can use the text, turn the text on and off, stripes tiling. You know, a lot of options to get a completely different alpha again, just based on that. So again, it's just part of the, you know, the reusability of these alphas that we're trying to include here within the 2017 release. So ton of new alphas to explore. I'm actually kind of exploring them with you guys too for the, you know, for one of the first times. I haven't had a lot of time to mess with 2017, so I'm just kind of looking through these, and also pretty happy to get a lot of options. Here under procedurals, you'll notice that we also added a ton of new procedurals as well. A lot of interesting patterns here. And so as I scroll through, you can see again a lot of different shapes here that we can work with. And let's see, scroll back up. Bunch of different patterns, some patterns that are more specific to fabrics, such as this square sharp. Here is another one here. Let's grab this guy. All right, so we'll put this one into place, and you can also notice here that we're going to end up having, again, the tile capability, roundness settings. So here you can see I'm making changes, increase the width, and now I get a completely different pattern. Let's just make a change here and here. So like I said, a lot of flexibility with these new alphas here. Now, we have another tool here, which is pretty awesome. So here, let me bring this up, and let me create this here. And let's go over to our alphas again. So this time I'm just going to filter by my algorithmic alphas, so you can see these are the ones that we do ship with exactly. And we have this brush maker. So let's grab Brush Maker and place this into here. Now I want to give a shout out to Vincent Go. He works for Algorithmic. He is the tech artist community manager for Algorithmic. Vincent's awesome, really awesome guy. And so just shout out to Vincent. This is one of his tools. So it's actually really, really cool. So let's take a look. So the Alpha Brush Maker allows you to kind of design your own brush tip. So you can see here that there's a lot of options. So the brush shape, you know, we can change the brush shape type. Let's see here. So I can try my Gaussian shape, and you can see where this is changing here is paraboloid. And so it's just changing a little bit of the tip. So then we have the ability to adjust things like our squeeze, our pattern width and height. So here I'm just making adjustments. So this is now the brush tip that I'm getting. This is a really cool brush for trying to get more artistic type brushes. And so this is, again, the kind of brush I'm trying to come up with. Let me just make a few adjustments here. So here's what I have now. You can see that, you know, with all these different types of strokes here, I'm getting a lot of different brush tips with this. So here we'll throw a little rotation random in on this. We can actually harden the tip of this brush. So here's a little bit of a harder stamp to that. We can adjust the opacity here. So a little bit more random on the opacity. Also here you have the ability to work with the pattern mask itself. So this is going to be, you know, how we can start to mask with the pattern size and contrast. Here we have brush settings. So we have like the bristle number. So here let's lower this down a bit. You can see the difference this is going to make. So a lot less of these bristles. We'll increase this count up, and so we get more. And here, I mean, lots of options here. You know, the brush rotation, spread, vertical spread, and so on. Here you have this other mask option. Again, for the radius and the hardness here for the brush. So now you can see. Let's do this. Let's increase my radius. Now I've got more of a rounded kind of brush shape. You can see there. Another thing that's really cool is the ability to input your own custom noise, and you can see that's at the very top here. So use custom shape. I'm going to enable this, and then I can scroll down here to where my image inputs are, and I can use a shape. So here, let me do a filter. Whoops. Let me, mini shelf comes up. I'm going to do a quick filter for an alpha, and I don't know. I'm going to try this guy here, the Aero Blend Split. And here's the type of brush that I got. So, you know, pretty cool. Let's see. I can go back over here to my mask radius and hardness. Let's take this guy down. So again, you can use custom noise patterns in there as well to get that to work. So there's the brush maker. Again, good shout out to Vincent. This is an awesome tool. Really good for creating a lot of these kind of more artistic type brush sets. All right, so let me close this guy out. So the next thing I want to showcase here, as far as content goes, and here I'm just trying again to kind of look through the list here to see if there's any kind of questions. I see Nicholas Liatia is in there answering questions. Thanks so much, Nicholas, for joining. Let's see. Again, guys, I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep up on those questions as they come in. Okay, here's one question here. Can you paint over more than one texture set yet, or combine them together? So yeah, that's a question that gets asked a lot, and unfortunately, I'm sorry, no, you cannot at this point, but it is not something that we have forgotten about. And it's something, you know, I really can't go too much in depth right now, but it's a very highly requested feature. We are definitely working very, very hard on this. The reason it's taking so much time is because there's a lot of variables that we need to include, because we want to make sure that we retain the non-destructive nature of Painter, and there's a lot of things with the engine that we want to make sure works right. So we want to make sure that when we have it and it's there, it works as best as it possibly can, and the performance is really, really good. So you also have this performance part that we're working on as well. So again, I apologize, everyone. I know that feature gets asked a lot, but the team's really hard at work on it. Okay, so the next thing that I want to showcase is this edgeware filter, which is pretty cool. So let's come into here, and I'm going to create a new layer for this guy. So I'm going to show this a couple different ways. Let's see here. Let me start with height. So, all right, you'll notice I'm going to start a brush. So let me come over to my brushes, and I'm just going to hit this default hard brush just so that I could reset everything here. That's all I'm doing. And for the material for this brush, you can see that I turned off everything except for my height channel. And so now I've got this height value. I can go positive or negative. And so here we'll just go back to our brush. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to these height maps. Now these are a bunch of images. These are a bunch of height maps that I have that I've purchased from other places, just part of my own library. I've imported them in, and these are just that I use. You could use some of the alphas that we ship with as well. That's here in the, again, you guys won't see it like this. Just to reiterate, you won't see alphas dash Allegro. I just did it this way for the video so that I could specifically show you guys the ones that are shipping with Painter. Again, here underneath alphas, when I imported mine, I tagged them as alpha, so I've got all this stuff in here. So like I said, you could use some of these alphas as height as well. But in my case, like I said, I've imported my own stuff here. Okay, so let me come over here and find something I can work with. Here, let me use this guy. So what I do is I'm going to take this alpha, drag and drop it here onto the alpha input on my layer. I'll kind of scale my brush up. Let's come over here to my height, and I'm going to rotate this guy, and I'm just going to stamp this in. Whoops, I don't want to do that. I think I want to go negative. Yeah, that's what I want to do. That looks cooler. All right, so now here I've got, well, a little detail that I've added here to my dial here. Now you'll notice that on this dial I've also added, there's also some grunge filters and things like that to produce some edge wear. And so now when I'm stamping in my details, well, I can add these details. It's really cool, but I don't have any of the edge wear because it's not, it's not being generated because the edge wear is actually being generated by one of these, well, mask generators. So we've added this new filter called the edge. Let's see, what is the name of this guy? It's right here. It's the Matte FX, the detail edge wear. And so we can use this to help us bring in this edge wear to this. So with this layer selected, like I said, got my height and everything set up, what I'm going to do is just come over here to my add filter, and I'm going to click the filter button, scroll down, and here it is, add my Matte FX. So, okay, bam, nothing happened. So the issue here is that you need to change your input mode. So like I said, I was going to demonstrate this first thinking about height. So I'm painting with height information. So I want to set my input node here to height. So when I do that, now all of a sudden I'm starting to get some data here. So I'm starting to get a little bit of edge wear. Now the material is pretty bright. You'll notice that I also have some post effects on in my viewport, and sometimes I like to work like this. Just so I can get an idea of how these materials are reacting to, bloom and things like that. So here you can see it's pretty intense. So the first thing I'm going to do is just come over to my material category, and I'm going to work with my material. Now this filter supports both PBR, metallic roughness, and spec gloss. I'm working on metallic rough, so I'm going to come over to my base color. Notice its reflectance value is really super high, so we're just going to drop it down. And so by dropping it down, you can see it already kind of matches what I had for the other material. I can also interactively just adjust the roughness. So here I'm just going to increase the rough value for this. So now this is the effect that I'm getting, a little bit of edge wear on here, and here, you notice here I can increase or decrease this edge wear. So this right here, these settings for this generator works exactly like the metal edge wear generator that we ship with inside of Painter. So, same settings here with edge smoothness, grunge amount, and so on. So let me close up material and let me come into my settings. Now the settings, there's a lot of control here for how this effect is being generated. So what it's doing on the internally is it's taking this height information, converting it to normal, and then that's being used to generate curvature in AO so that it will create this edge wear effect for us. So with that, that's why we have controls here for things like our normal intensity. So we may want to increase that normal intensity so that it's going to generate a more, let's see, more intense curvature map and so on. So you may need to adjust that, or you may not. We also have curvature intensity. So depending if the effect is really, really low, you might want to control your curvature intensity. So here's something that's happening that I don't like with the filter. I'm using this with height. And a lot of this is just kind of hitting on some of the edge, but what I would like to do is have some of this outer edge wear show up for me. So what I'm going to do is activate this control called invert curvature. So I'm going to enable this, and you can see what it does now is, it produces a little bit of a different effect. It puts more edge wear on the side here, or I'm sorry, on this outer edge, which is really kind of what I like in this case. So that's pretty cool. So now I'll start to increase my grunge wear. If I decrease my curvature intensity, let me try to zoom in really close. You can see what that's doing internally. It's decreasing that curvature effect. Also, you can see where this normal, it's hard to see. Hopefully you guys can see it in the video, but this normal intensity is having a slight effect, again, on how that curvature is being generated. So here we have this effect. Now, I did, in the case of inverting my curvature, I did lose some of the wear that I wanted in this area. So we have this new another option here, which lets me combine the two curvatures together. So now I've got my outer and this inner wear as well, which is pretty interesting. So now I can, let's see, increase my wear level, increase my grunge mount to get something like this here. Now, there also have some controls here on the masking of this that I want to talk about. So typically here for this generator mask control, it's set to 1, meaning it's basically using the full ability of the mask. So actually one question here, there's one question that says, I don't get where you should put that generator. Okay, so with this generator, you'll notice that what I'm using this is specifically for being able to create edge wear on details that you add. Like for instance, if you're adding normal information or height information, like I stamped this height information detail down just like you can see it here. I want to be able to add this edge wear to this, so I have to add this as a filter to a standard layer that I create. All right, so now we have this in place. Let me go back here to this detail here. And like I said, mask control, if I start to lower this down, you can see it's basically like kind of almost putting like a choke on the mask. So you can see where if I wanted to, I could maybe try to isolate it just around a certain area and so on. So typically you'll leave that kind of at 1. Here you can increase the contrast of this. So again, if we kind of decrease this mask control and I increase the contrast, you're going to be able to kind of sharpen that up a bit. And then here we have this mask blur. So here, if I don't have any blur to this, you can see it's really hitting right on the edge. So this mask blur is helping me to kind of blur out and get some of this kind of chipped edge bleed around these edges that I was kind of going for in that. So that's what we're kind of getting here. And then finally, you have this alpha background value. So you can see here, if I start to decrease this, you'll start to see edge wear everywhere. So here, we could try to get a situation where I can kind of clamp this down like this. and maybe increase my contrast. Again, these are just controls if you want to try to get a little bit extra detail out of these edges and so on. Typically, I'm going to leave this alpha background here to 0 and keep this all the way up here to 1. All right, so that's kind of our height. So let me show you something else that's kind of interesting about this as well. So let's go back to our layer now. So now that this effect has been added, we can go to, let's see, my height maps, and let me add a new height map. So I'm going to grab this guy. This time I'll come in towards the bottom, and whoops, let me just keep it like this. Let me do my material. This time you can see I'm adjusting my height, and I'm adding it towards the positive, and I'm just going to stamp this in. So now as I work, it automatically is stamping in with this edgeware. So here I'll come back and grab this guy here, and then I'm going to do kind of a negative subtraction out of this shape. So I'll come in and do a negative subtraction, and as I do, you can see that the edgeware is kind of all blending together around these edges and so on. So you can get some pretty cool like molding type effects here by using the height like this. And you can see that it's all still completely interactive. So again, I could go back to my edgeware if I want, adjust the actual edge control and so on. So this effect also works, that was height, so this also works with normal. So here if I create like a new standard layer, to use it with normal, what I would do is I just add my normal channel. Then I come over to our hard surfaces section, and then let's say, in this case, I'll grab this circle one and just drag and drop it onto here. Then I come over to my alpha. Here what I do is I just remove the alpha. And so this is going to be my normal. I'll just stamp this guy in. So this is normal information. This time we'll come in, oops, I'm sorry, not a generator, it's a filter. So I want to add a filter, and we'll click our button here. I'll scroll down, add the detail edgeware. Again, I'm going to go back over here to my material. Let's drop our value down. And here I will increase the roughness a bit. And so here we go. Now we've got this detail with the edgeware working for us. So again, if I want to just grab a different alpha to come into here, this little dial part here, so I can add it, and you can see it's starting to add the edgeware. Okay, so something else about this filter here, let's come in and just so we can see it, let's just overcrank these values here a bit. There we go. So now we have this edgeware. Now, this filter also works with ambient occlusion. So let me come back here to my texture set stack. And you'll notice here that I already had an ambient occlusion channel. So let me turn that off. All right, so I'm going to zoom in here. And if you have an ambient occlusion channel here in your layer stack, this edge generator will automatically, this filter will automatically create AO for you. So here if I click the button and I hit ambient occlusion, you can see it starts to darken in this area. So here I'll hit C on the keyboard to kind of toggle through my channels, and we'll come over here to oh, I passed it up, sorry. There it is. So here's my AO, and you can see that it's generating the ambient occlusion. And that's where our AO spreading comes in. So here I could actually lower this AO spreading, and you can see that the effect that it's having on the ambient occlusion. So here's another example. Stamp in, and you can see the edgeware that it's kind of producing around the edging and so on. So that's the detail edgeware tool. All right, so next I want to showcase another filter that we have, and that's the horizon-based ambient occlusion. So we've added this to help to create ambient occlusion based on when you have detail like this, like we've stamped in. So for example, here I'm on this layer. What I want to do is I'm going to come in and just add a couple of these stamps in here. So let's just add just some data. Let's see. Let's grab this guy. And we'll stamp this in. I don't know, I'm trying something else here. Maybe the vent. Let's try this. So we'll come over, let's make this one kind of big, and then I'll stamp this in. Okay. So here's some normal information that I've added here, and there's no ambient occlusion whatsoever in this. So what I want to do now is come over here to the layer that I've been painting on, and I'm going to add a filter again, and this time I'll click the filter button, scroll down, and we have this new the horizon-based ambient occlusion. So now I'll add this. And you can see again, we just have to set the channel source. So here I'm going to set this to normal. And so now it's generating this ambient occlusion for me. In just a second here, let me just make a few adjustments. Hopefully you guys can see it in the video. So I'm just kind of scrolling in. You can see I'm changing my height depth here, and it's starting to show up here. And we can adjust our radius and that blur intensity. So now let me hit C on the keyboard, go into my ambient occlusion. And so now here we have our, here's the height depth. So I might set it at a value like this. And like I said, we can blur. And we have relief balance, as well as an overall intensity value. So here we go. I might use something like this. It lets me generate that ambient occlusion. And so now I can get ambient occlusion. And again, this works similar to the detail effects where we're able to choose what mode that we want to use. Is it going to be normal or height? All right, so let's see what else. This time let's look at doing something with a glow. So we now have a new glow filter. Now I'm going to add a new layer onto here, and this is going to be glow. So let me try to set this up. Let's see, how could we do this? What would be a good texture? Let's try this vent here. So I'm just going to drag this vent in. Maybe not. Let's see. We'll turn this off. Actually, I'm going to try this with height. And let me come over to some height maps I have. And let me grab maybe this guy here. So we'll plug this in. Whoops. Didn't mean to do that. Let's see here. Let me come back to... I want to use this as... Let's see, go over to my height maps, so plug this guy into here. Okay, so here's how we're going to do this. We're going to add a layer here, and I'm going to come over to my materials, and let's see, for height. Now see here in the height, I didn't want to do that. I want to keep it, to where I have this value slider so I can move up and down, like positive and negative. So when I work with height, I will typically do it this way, where I'll use height like just the value slider for the positive and negative, and then I'll come over here to the alpha and then add that here, and I add the actual alpha as part of the alpha of the brush. So let's drag this guy in, and let's take a look at this. So I'll stamp this in here. Whoops. You got to remember to add a value here. So let's put this in negative. Okay, so now we've got something finally. Okay, so next what I'm going to do is just add a new layer here, and this is going to be like my glow. So we'll call this glow. And for here, let's see. I'm just going to add a color channel to this, and I might try red maybe. Here, maybe something like this. Let's try something like this color. Okay. So now I'm going to come over to my alphas here, and let's see. All right, just to get a quick alpha, what I'm going to do is come over to my brushes here, and I'm going to choose this default soft. So it just resets my brush, you can see here. And let's come over to the hardness value and just increase this a bit like this. So I'll come into here, and I'm going to stamp this down. So right there, you can see that this would be a way to kind of get a glow effect, because what I have here is I've placed or stamped in a value, this kind of high kind of color, kind of a bright color value, and I've just stamped this in. And then also here in my display settings, I've got post effects enabled and glares enabled, and you can see that I have this like threshold, let me just increase this a bit, this luminance value. So I'm kind of producing like a glow this way. Now we've also added a new glow filter as well. So let's take a look at how this guy works. So here, notice that I've placed this filter on the same layer that I actually created that stroke. So we're going to need to have some type of alpha information to that. Oh, one question. Someone said, I just missed the start of this. Will it be available to watch later? Yes, it definitely will. It's going to be archived on our YouTube channel. We have a live event streaming playlist, so check for it there. Okay, so let's see. Our filter. We need to add it. It's right here, so I click the filter button. We have glow, so I'll enable glow. And so here you can see that it's already kind of doing something for us. Let's change this color now. So now I'm going to do something again, just a little bit of a brighter value. So it's a little bit brighter in the center. So we'll get this. And then I can start to adjust the width of this guy. So you can see that as I adjust the width, I start to really get more of like a bloom like this. And I can decrease the opacity to here. And here I'm just kind of trying to tweak this a bit. Maybe make it a little, change the color. There we go. So now what this gives me is this kind of added effect that I've got kind of like this kind of blurred, kind of blooming glow outside of that. So it's a combination of how this is working with, you know, the display settings. So here if I just turn off, if I turn off glare, this is what I'm getting now. So here we'll just increase this. Bring our width down. You can see that I'm just adjusting this blur. And we've got two modes. I can set this to precise. And this is our overall spread. So that's what glow is going to do for us here. Let's see. We also have a drop shadow as well. So here, let's see if we can try to demonstrate this one here. Let's do this. Let me just delete that layer, and let's see. Let's delete this layer as well, and let's just create a new. Let's just do something new here from scratch. And this time, let me try this. Let me do something like maybe make this a little bit white here. And we'll come over, this is just a color, so notice that I'm just working on one channel in this particular case. Let's come over to our new alphas, and let's grab caution. So I'll drag caution in as an alpha, and I'll scale this guy up and just stamp this down. So here's caution, and now I'll add a filter to this. And we'll enable drop shadow. And so it's starting to work. Probably hard to see here in the video. Let me just decrease my size down. And the distance. Let's see. So here you can see I have this opacity. Let me take this all the way up so we can kind of see it. And I can also adjust my rotation angle here. So here, let me just try to get it right where I want it. The size is just going to blur it a little bit. So here, if I zoom in, you can see that I'm just creating here this drop shadow effect. And so again, if I move my distance, you can see it's kind of, you know, moving away. So here, let's take that size down so it's kind of sharp. And so here's where you can see that we've got this drop shadow type effect here. All right, so here, I'm going to turn this guy off. Now, the next thing I'd like to kind of look at here is some of our new color correction filters that we've added. So here, let's go back to, let's see. Yeah, I'm going to go here to my outer casing. And let's see, let this texture set load up. Okay, so if we come over here to our filters, okay, so like I said, new filtering here. We've also added some new color balance and color correction filters. So here, I'm going to take this color correction filter and I'm just going to drag and drop it to the very top of my layer stack. And so you'll notice that whenever you take a filter, now this isn't new to 2017, but I'll mention it just in case you haven't seen it. If you want to do like like a global effect to all of the layers that you have here in your stack. What you can do is utilize these pass-through modes here. So notice that base color is set to pass-through, and if I come to say something like roughness, it's also set to pass-through. So pass-through, of course, is going to just pass this information down the layer stack. So in a way, it works like an adjustment layer, like in Photoshop. And a quick way to do that is if you drag and drop any filter from the shelf to the layer stack, it automatically sets this to pass through. So again, that's just a tip in case you didn't know that that's how that worked. Okay, so let's go back over here to our color correct filter here, and you can see that we can now have options here for our shadows, midtones, and highlights. So for, like, say, our midtones, we can start to come into here, and I can adjust maybe the overall luminosity here. So I can lower this, I can increase my contrast, decrease my saturation, or increase the saturation, and so on. So you can see what I'm kind of getting here. Again, our shadows. So you'll notice that in this particular pattern, you have these dark areas, and notice that in the shadow section, it's just really correcting just that shadow area. So if I want to desaturate or saturate this area, I can do that, or adjust the luminosity here. And then here we have our highlights as well. So color correction, again, works as you would expect with color correction. Here, we'll disable that guy, and this time I am going to, well, here, let's do it like this. Let's just disable this, and let's take a color balance this time and put it towards the top. So now we have color balance, and color balance again has the same kind of controls for our highlights, midtones, and shadows, but now we can actually do a color balance of this. So let's see here, for our midtones, we can start to push this more towards red. Cyan. And so here we can use, the color balance node. Sorry, I keep saying node. I'm used to designer lately. We can use the color balance filter here to, do as you would expect, just color balance. The good thing is now we just have this as part of Substance Painter, so that we can quickly, add this type of, add these types of corrections, color balance and color correction as well. Okay, so here I'm just trying to think about any other kind of effects or anything that we've added here. So we've talked a lot about, we talked mainly about all of the new alphas that we ship with, things like the brush maker, new alphas. All of the new alphas are procedurally created, so they're going to have all kinds of parameters that you can adjust. We also shipped with several new procedural noises, lots of different patterns. Again, all procedural, so that we can make adjustments to those. And then here for filters, we've added new filters. The main ones that we're talking about here have been the detail edge wear, horizon base, ambient occlusion, color balance, and color correction. And then, of course, we've integrated Substance Source fully here into Substance Painter. So that's going to pretty much come to a close what I really wanted to showcase here in this webinar, or this introduction to Substance Painter 2017. So again, if you're new to Substance Painter, we've got a new Getting Started course that's been uploaded to Substance Academy. It's also on YouTube. It's got one video there now. It's just a little over an hour. And so again, it's focused at new users, and we're going to continue to add, videos to this to cover more and more things specifically towards how to prepare a model, how to set up your materials. Also looking to do this in different applications, Cinema 4D, 3ds Max, Maya, and so on. So that way, depending on whatever application you use, there'll be a video for you to check out. So thanks everybody. On behalf of Algorithmic, I would like to sincerely thank all of you guys, all of our customers, all those who are using the tools. You guys are you guys are amazing. Your feedback and your support is really humbling to all of us. I'd also like to just throw out a very special thank you to all the Substance Painter developers. Those guys are just, I mean, they're geniuses. Every time I talk to those guys, it blows my mind. It's just amazing how good they are, and they put in so much effort and work into everything. And I don't, sometimes I feel like they don't get the credit they deserve. So I just want to say special thanks to all those guys, the product managers and owners, Jeremy, Fabrice. You guys are awesome. Thanks so much for all you do. So thank you, everybody. This is going to be archived on YouTube. So if you have any questions, you can hit the comments there. I'm on the forums. You can, drop some, questions there in the forums as well. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time on the next event stream. Take care.